everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for my client Justin's vlog. And for those curious, yeah, he's still on a 3-day push-pull legs, pretty much one of my dad bod transformation type programs. That's what we run him at with his schedule and everything. And it's mainly because he can really only get to the gym 3 days a week, so we make the most out of it. Disclaimer, he's obviously in really good shape, previously squatted 500 plus as a client. So, you know, with some of this stuff, we do more volume. He does a lot more volume than my other guys on this type of programming. And it's because he actually can get away with the volume. He handles decently high volumes pretty well. He's in good shape. And he's got the recovery. It's the issue is he just can only get to the gym 3 days a week. It just fits his lifestyle better. So we do, you know, quite a bit more volume. Oh my God, people are gonna be like, "Well, I said do." All right, so we do more volume than a lot of the other guys, and we squeeze it into those 3 days. He also had said, so this week he was feeling his shoulder just a little irritated, so we did bench, and he went ahead and did machine instead of the barbell for the incline, then he did dumbbells after. So normally I have him do barbell incline after flat, and then we do dumbbell work. So he skipped that, and he skipped the pullovers too. So again, and I'm okay with that. So with him, we know his body well enough, and he knows his body well enough. He's been training like 15 plus years. I've had him for 5.5, right? We'll be coming up on the 6th year this summer, the 6 years. So we're 5.5 deep. And, you know, he trained for over a decade before that. So he knows his body. And so if there's something like that that's a little bugged, he'll tell me and he'll rotate it out, and then I'll let him know we want to do different the next week. And again, perfectly fine. You know, just like we've rebuilt, he had a minor medical situation that took us away from leg training for a couple of months, so we've been rebuilding that. You know, so again, but actually speaking of which, we got 405 for 6 reps on the squat this week. So happy with that. We're back up in the 4 plate for rep range. We need to get him back to that 5 plate. So what we do here though, so after the dumbbell incline, he does seated dumbbell presses. And I really only have him do a couple shoulder exercises, right? We don't do a lot of shoulder work. And it's because he does plenty of big compounds and we only have 3 days. So I tend to split his shoulders between the push and the pull day. So he does a push-pull legs. And it's because they just work well. A lot of my guys who get 4 days, we do a separate shoulder day. In his case, his shoulders are good. I'm not that worried about it. So they're in a good situation. And they get a lot of splash over volume. So again, he has good delts. So as long as we get some type of lateral raise and maybe an overhead press, we're good, right? And we need the overhead pressing because, again, his benching tends to be his weak link. His chest tends to be the weak link, and so I sometimes like to make sure his delts are strong. I like some front delt work for him, some overhead pressing to keep those delts strong to make sure they're not giving out on any of his chest pressing. Because again, his delts are good, but his pecs tend to be his weakest link in his whole body. Our benches are our weakest of our big lifts. His pecs tend to be the most stubborn muscle for him. It's like I tell everyone, not everyone has everything, you know. A lot of guys, people will look at him and look at his structure like, well, he's got good genetics. Till it comes to chest, you know. He's had to really, really fight for the chest that he has. Right. So again, very, 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 very few people just have everything. And I think people forget that. You know, everyone's got their strengths and weaknesses. You know, for him, he's got good arm genetics, you know, and so on and so forth. Right. Good explosiveness. Right. He's got a decent amount of fast twitch muscle fibers. So he's got a lot going there. But, you know, the chest has been a lot of work. Our chest has been hard for him. And we sometimes run into issues when I push his pecs too hard. He's like, it gets uncomfortable. It's like, can I rotate these declines out? So we'll take a Mountain Dew incline. Because, again, just like everything else, he gets a lot of fatigue. Right? He gets fatigue and strains in that area if we're not careful. Because, and again, that's often the case. Our areas, and that's something I think doesn't get talked about enough. A lot of times our areas that seem to get overworked the easiest, we're just prone to overuse and overtraining in, are sometimes our worst muscle groups. You know, and so in his case, we have to approach it carefully and systematically with the chest. You know, he ends up getting shoulder pains or minor pulls and stuff if we're not careful. right? So we have to take care of there. So always remember that, man. Everyone's going to have some weak links, every single person. And obviously arms are not his. So for the pull day, we do weighted pull-ups. I have him do one-arm dumbbell rows. And we don't need to spend a lot of time on lats. His lats are really good. He's strong at pull-ups. He's strong at rows. So again, since we deadlift and since we normally do the pullovers too, so normally that would be extra lat work, I only have him do about 6 sets there. So I really focus on his chest. We really focus on the chest. We really focus on, a lot of his leg stuff, right? Depending on what he's got for time, because that's what we need, right? That's what we need for him. But here we go. We do some laterals. So after all the rowing, we do some lateral raises. We do some dumbbell curls. We do some preacher curls. Okay, we do that stuff. Now, people will say, well, his arms and legs are good. Why do we do 2 types of curls? Mainly because we need to keep those arms. I only do that one tricep extension due to time because he does so much pressing. Keep in mind, we do, when he does pullovers, stop and think about all the pressing for triceps. Normally, on a normal week, flat bench, incline dumbbells, pullovers, shoulder presses. That is a ton of pressing volume, and we're getting all the heads with the laterals. So sometimes we just need to come in and do some press downs for a phase or some laying extensions for a phase, finish them off, and we're good. But with the biceps, because I do a lot of overhand grip pulling for him, I do want to make sure we hit the biceps from a couple angles. So I like to do a dumbbell for him, like an alternating dumbbell curl and some type of preacher curl. And we'll rotate in straight bar curls sometimes in place of the dumbbells, right? We rotate it in phases. But I find for him, the preacher curls work really well. So we like to do preacher curls for Justin. And it's because he's got that, look at the nice low bicep insertion. He gets a lot out of the preacher curl. He'd probably have big arms if that's all we did, to be honest. He just pushed preacher curls really hard. But I like to fatigue him first with a different type of curl so that we don't have to go as heavy. Again, just the risk of injury on the preacher. All right, leg day. We only got 3 of the exercises, but they're the important ones in terms of the footage. Still gave us a full vlog. Back squat, we got 6 reps of 405. So we're back in the 405 territory. He's like, it's good to be here. I had to work him up, like working with 365 for reps, 370, so on. We've been working it back up now that he's able to do legs again. But I'm real happy with this. We got 6 reps of 405, right? Keep in mind, he is under 200 pounds. He's about 190. So we'll take it. Same thing here, 445. We got 5 reps on the deadlift, and then he finishes up with some leg presses. So again, solid work here. Pretty happy with all this. These deadlifts are dang near a limit set though. He's stronger at sumo, but we haven't been doing sumo. I'm like, no, we're going to work conventional for a while. And if we want to go max on your sumo later, we'll train sumo for 6 weeks, and then we'll test and see if we can get that 600. He's never gotten to 600. We kept falling short. We got 590, but he also has had a little detraining there on the lower body. But we'll build the legs back up and everything. And if he wants to mess with it later, he'll let me know, and we'll build it back up. All right, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.